If you've watched the videos preceding this one, describing distribution should be easily grasped. Recall that despite the mean and standard deviation being the most powerful measures of center and spread with regard to later uses of statistics, they can both be significantly distorted if outliers are present or if data is skewed left or right. Thus, if data is skewed or influential points are present, we will describe the center and spread of a set of data using the median and interquartile range. They are both resistant to outliers and thus give a better estimate of center and spread. When asked to describe a distribution, which is usually part of an AP exam in May, you should identify the shape and presence of any outliers, and in reaction to shape and outliers, report the appropriate center and spread. Let's consider a sample involving two players who each roll a single die. The winner is the person with the highest number rolled. The distribution of points per one roll is this. Here's the mean, standard deviation, and IQR. So, points are distributed uniformly with no outliers. The center is the mean of 3.5 points, and the standard deviation is 1.7 points. But now let's put a twist to the game. Whenever a 6 is rolled, let's suppose the player earns the 6 points, but then they roll again for a possible bonus. If another 6 is rolled, they earn 20 points more for a total of 26 points. Because of this, the expected results per 36 rolls would look like this. Let's see the impact of this outlier on the measure of center and spread. The two distributions only differ by one outcome per 36 rolls. However, the mean is now over 4 points and the standard deviation more than doubled. But the median and quartiles, and thus interquartile range, they did not change. They are said to be resistant to outliers and thus are much better indicators of what typically happens in a roll of the game. Recall the times to complete an obstacle course for 39 people. Describe the distribution. Shape, skewed left. The lowest time is likely an outlier. Outliers must be 1.5 interquartile ranges below the lower quartile or above the upper quartile. Fortunately, due to skewness, we need to calculate and report the IQR for spread anyway, so we will use it to determine potential outliers. The median is 58 seconds, lower quartile 55 seconds, upper quartile 62 seconds, IQR is 7 seconds, 1.5 times the IQR is 10.5 seconds, anything at least 10.5 seconds below the lower quartile of 55 is an outlier. The times to complete the obstacle course are skewed left with two outliers, 36 seconds and 42 seconds. The median is 58 seconds, the IQR is 7 seconds. Here are descriptive statistics of home selling prices. Recall from the previous video that there's only a $1,700 difference between the mean and the median, and the IQR is $20,000 wide, so this is not a significant difference between the mean and the median. Thus, it would be acceptable to say the distribution is roughly symmetric. But now that we need to describe the entire distribution, we need to be on the lookout for outliers, and there is an outlier here. Because the IQR is 20, if we add 1.5 times 20 to the upper quartile of 250,000, anything above 280,000 is an outlier. We know the max is $300,000, so we know that there's at least one outlier present. Now, while the mean average is not going to be affected too much by that because the mean and the median are relatively close, it's the standard deviation that we're concerned with. It could be rather inflated. So the best way to describe this distribution is either to say that it is roughly symmetric with an outlier present and then report the median and IQR, or say that it is slightly skewed right with at least one outlier present and the median is $240,000 and the IQR is $20,000. What's interesting here, it may seem strange to you that we have a math class that allows some latitude in how you respond and how you give your answer, and that more than one answer would be correct. However, this is more like real life, which is what statistics attempts to quantify and analyze. Life is about weighing pros and cons, and this is the power in studying statistics. Be able to recognize the validity and uncertainty of most things, and then make wise decisions based upon such an understanding. One last problem. With only a view of the graph, describe the distribution. Well, this is strongly skewed to the right, thus report the mean and IQR. You can estimate or be precise, then use IQR and upper quartile to determine if there are outliers. Median is approximately $240,000 for a selling price of the home. IQR is approximately $40,000. Adding 1.5 times the IQR to the upper quartile of $270,000 implies outliers. Well, we have 6 of those. So here we go. Home prices have a strong right skew with median at about $240,000 and an IQR of roughly $40,000. There are 6 outliers present. All of them are above a home selling price of $330,000.